Well, hello again, Paul Marsden here again with you. I'm going to talk to you get some more stuff today about dealing with stress and building resilience and handling all these demands coming at you. I mentioned before, but again I'll say it to you, you have a constant stream of demands coming at you all the time. And these things will never ever stop. People sometimes say, oh, when I build the extension or when I move somewhere, when I do something, then I can relax and I can do that. But you can't really, because more demands come at you, and there's never a time just to go, now, nothing there now what can I do? There's always more and more demands coming in. And we have inside ourselves this bag of resources, this bag of tricks. And once that bag of tricks is high enough, you feel strong enough to meet these demands coming in, you won't feel this thing we call stress. But the second you get an idea that that bag of tricks you have is down here somewhere and the demands coming in are up here somewhere, you will feel this thing we call stress. And this space in here is where stress lives. And stress affects people in all sorts of different ways. People tend to get very upset, they can't sleep properly, they can't eat. You have a constant feeling of butterflies in your stomach and all this type of thing. You just can't focus or concentrate on things at all. And that type of stuff can hit people regularly when these things happen to them. People often go off their food completely. They can't sleep properly, they can't concentrate, they can't remember things. They get very, very confused when they get very stressed. So they need some more tricks in their bag to handle that. And when someone comes for help to me, that's what they need. They need some more tricks inside in their bag. And I cover today with you some of those tricks I give people to do, that you will find will help you amazingly to handle these demands coming in all the time. Now, first of all, if you can build into your day, every single day, build into your day some me time, some time just for you. You fence off that little time just for you. It could be, say, 5 minutes or 10 minutes, or if you're lucky, a half an hour, it doesn't matter, but sometime just for you, that you fence off that time, that's your time, and nobody else can get that time from you. And one thing, you're not allowed to feel guilty about that. That is something that you're not allowed to feel guilty. You can't feel guilty at all about that. That is your time, so you can recharge yourself, because you aren't a Duracell bunny. You won't keep going and going and going and going. You actually will run down at some point, unless you feed yourself in some kind of way with that time just for yourself. Otherwise you become no good to other people. And they need you around there. They need you to help them in some kind of way sometimes. And if you're not in any good state, you can't help them. So to recharge yourself, you can then help other people in the way they want. So that me time just for you. So it could be 5 minutes or 10 minutes or half an hour. And during that time, whatever you do is to build yourself back up again. So you might have a cup of coffee, say. And when you do that, do the cup of coffee, taste the cup of coffee and drink it in what's called a mindful kind of way, where you really will taste the coffee and smell the coffee and be fully present in the moment. No thoughts. The thoughts just sit there for a minute and just focus just on the coffee. Because the thoughts will just drag you out to all sorts of scary places. So put the thoughts to one side for a minute and focus just on the coffee. And the last time I spoke to you, I did something with you called the 5-finger breathing technique. I'll take that again now, in case you haven't seen the previous video. So what I will do is show you that simple thing again. And during your time to yourself, this simple thing you can also use for yourself. So do a 5-finger technique. You just have your hand and a finger of the other hand. You're going to breathe in and breathe out. So I'm going to breathe in now. Follow along with me now and do this, and you'll calm down greatly from this. So breathe in, hold for a second, and just breathe out. And breathe in again, hold for a second, and breathe out. And breathe in again, hold for a second, and breathe out. Breathe in again, hold for a second, and breathe out. And breathe in again, hold for a second, and breathe out. Now if you've done that, you'll feel much calmer doing that. And part of your me time during the day could be that simple little thing, just to breathe like that and to calm things down for you. Because you have this constant stream coming at you all the time, and you have to somehow strengthen yourself to deal with that, to cope with that. You've heard the word resilience doing the rounds, one of these big buzzwords these days. And that deals with your bounce back ability when something hits you. So say you're here and this stressful event comes and it hits you. And it does hit you. You'll hear that people saying, this really hit me. I was knocked by this. I was hit. There's a sense of being physically struck by something when this actually hits you. And then it knocks you off your perch. You'll hear that. You were here, you end up over here somewhere. And over here you're not yourself. You'll hear this. I wasn't myself for quite a while when that happened to me. Or he wasn't himself. Or she wasn't herself when that happened to her. You hear that from people. And then you hear the phrase about, I came back to myself. You hear that from people. It took me a while to come back to myself. Or I got back to myself eventually from that. Or somebody might say to you, she was never herself when that happened, after that happened to her. So we have an awareness of somebody being themselves, then not being themselves, and getting back to themselves. And this getting back to yourself is where resilience lives. That's the resilience bit. That's that bounce back ability. And we all have that. And you've all had things happen to you in the past that you thought, I'd never cope with that. But you did. You coped and you handled it fine and you bounced back from it. And the weird thing is that the more these adverse events that hit you, that happen to you, the more you grow that resilience. We're not born with that. We have no resilience gene there. We learn this and we grow this to the adverse things that happen to us. So the problems, the difficulties, the awkward people you have to handle, these demands and deadlines, all these things, they grow that resilience. Think of Nietzsche, philosopher many years ago, said, what doesn't kill me makes me stronger. You've heard that, I'm sure. And that's very, very true then as it is now, very, very same now. What doesn't kill me makes me stronger. And we're going through a time right now with the whole COVID thing that is really, really taxing us in all sorts of ways. And our routines are upended. We're probably not sleeping properly. All our days are not whether the days or nights or what the hell's going on. We have no idea sometimes what's happening with these things. And more strange demands coming in. But we will get through that. And we will look back on this whole event. And we'll be stronger because of that. That's from growing resilience. And these things I do with you here in these videos are also to help you to grow resilience. So your 15 minutes, that time to yourself, that 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour to yourself, every single day, really important thing to do. People say to me, I have no time for that. I have 3 or 4 kids and I'm working from home. I can't get time to myself. I say, well, you do have to sometimes during the day go to the bathroom, don't you? If you didn't, you'd be in the right state, you know. So you have to go there during the day sometimes. Now that, for some people, is their only time just to kind of go, and just to calm things down. It could be that 5 minutes in the bathroom on their own, can be for some people the only time they've got. And they use that to get themselves up in the right state, to come back out, then again to face the next thing coming at them. So that could be, for you, your only time to get that. So use that as your time to rebuild yourself. So you end up walking out of the toilet, out of the bathroom afterwards in a much, much better state than you were going in. So that time to yourself, every single day, really, really, really important. And do something that you really like during that time. So I mentioned having a cup of coffee, really taste it. And be in a more mindful kind of way when you're in that state. That's time just for you. And say that to yourself. This is my time just for me, to recharge me, to feel myself stronger and more solid heading out there. We all use our phones all the time. And heaven forbid the phone's battery would run down. I must be near a charger, I have to have a charger, the battery seems to have gone red, I can't have that's yeah, the phone, that's the phone. But you're more important than the phone. And you have to recharge yourself during the day as much as possible. Otherwise you will not be able to face and handle these demands coming at you all the time. Linked into that, of course, is sleep as well, sleeping properly at night, really important one to do. Some people will say, roughly 40% of people in the population will say at any one time that they can't sleep properly. And some people say they can't sleep because they can't get to sleep. Others will get to sleep and then they wake up at some ungodly hour and stay awake. Others will wake up several times during the night. So different patterns of it. But each of them just can't sleep properly. And there are things we can do about that. Having a nice space to sleep in is very important. Having that space there and clearing clutter away from that sleep space. If you've got books and various things there that are occupying the space, that won't make you sleep properly. Say you have a room in the house that has full of clutter in it. You can't relax properly in it. And the same with your space for sleeping in. If that's cluttered, then that's not going to help you sleep. So clearing that out, really important thing to do if you possibly can. Clear the space as much as you can. Watch the light in the bedroom, because the experts on sleep will say that the darker your bedroom is, the better you can sleep. Some people will say, no, I like a little bit of light. Some bit of light's no problem, but the darker it is, the better. Also, the cooler it is, the experts will say, the better it is for sleep. The cooler it is, the better. So again, once you're warm with your duvet and so on, if the room is cooler, you'll sleep better there as well. I mentioned before, and really important, is to regularize that pattern. So you get to bed at the same time, so your brain knows now it's time to just wind down and go to sleep. And also, as you get up at the same time in the morning, and keep that pattern going at the weekends as much as you possibly can. You'll have times when you're away at a wedding, or you're away at something, or some event, or some course or something, and that time will kind of go from you. But when you get back to your normal sleeping pattern again, you will sleep. And watch your beliefs about sleep. Really important one here, because people, if they believe, I'm going to sleep really well tonight, they kind of will, you know, they do that. And some people say, oh, I won't sleep, I know I'm going to be awake all night tonight. That could happen to them. A woman in a group one time saying to me, she was away on some course she was on, and couldn't sleep at all because it was a strange place, hotels, strange noises, temperatures, things happening. And she said, well, I'm back at home tomorrow night and I will sleep like a log when I get back to my own space, my own bed. And of course she did, because her belief was so strong, she would sleep really well. If you've got beliefs about sleep, they're important. Knock on the head, get them the right way around. Okay, I have some stuff there now on taking time for yourself every single day, calming things down for yourself, relaxing, doing a 5-finger breathing. You know what resilience is about now, bouncing back there. That time for yourself each day helps that bounce back skill to happen to you. And again, getting your sleep in order, also a good bounce back skill there. Okay, I'll talk some more when I talk to you again. In the meantime, sleep well and have a good relaxation session today.